3, 2, 1. We are live. Welcome to the Mixed Martial Arts Podcast. I'm your host, Ben Cohn, as always. Joining me today, it's only Alejandro, sadly. Say hi, Alejandro.
Sadly? Hello, sadly.
Well, it's not sad that you're here. It's sad that Bilal isn't.
Yeah, he had to sleep early.
What will I do without him yelling at me? Well, not yelling, just like calmly saying, "No, fuck you, Ben." How am I? It's not the same when you do it.
No, Bilal. There's a certain musical delivery that he has. That and "Go fuck yourself, Ben." That sounds really good. Also,
it's something that is very hard to just do without. Although we'll have to try.
Yes.
But we got some stuff to talk about today. Zabit Magomesharipov versus Calvin Kattar. That happened. And it kind of went almost as expected. I think we picked Kattar. I think we expected
him. Bilal did.
Yes, that's true. I think Bilal and I picked Kattar, and I mean round 3 kind of showed why. But as usual, Here's the thing. There's a very strong argument for Kattar winning that fight anyway.
I don't agree.
I'm not asking if you agree. I'm just telling you that there is a strong argument.
No, I hear you. Yeah, I don't know how there is this. I can see like an argument, but not like a strong one.
I mean,
like I don't know how he won round 2 or round 1.
Well, it was at round 2. I'm not the only person to say this. Don't get me wrong. I see the argument for Magomesharipov completely. And it's not like it's a common thing that Kattar won, but I could see the argument in his favor. And here's the thing. One of the judges scored round 2 for Kattar as well. So I'm not crazy, you know?
No, well, maybe like depends on who the judges were because those are boxing judges.
Well, here's the thing. That same judge that scored round 2 for Kattar scored round 3 for Magomesharipov. So,
what?
Exactly. I have no words for that one. I don't understand it. But I don't know.
Like if he's gonna do that, you may as well just give round 3 to Kattar by 10-8. If you're gonna do that.
It was just weird. Yeah. I don't know why you would pick that round to give him, and then round 3 where he did better. You don't. Doesn't really make sense.
No. I mean, you gave Kattar round 3 by winning by a 10-8 margin.
Well, no,
that's what I mean.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
No,
I see.
Like if you're gonna do that, go the other way. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I have contradictory thoughts about this fight.
Well, I'll let you speak first because I'm eating, so you might as well.
Okay. Tell the audience what you're eating.
Well,
first,
I made a chili-ish thing, and it's delicious. It has ghost pepper sauce in it.
Nice. Okay, so wait, shit. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, suddenly like the background noise went mute.
Well, I'm turning my mic off while I chew. It's impolite, sir.
Yeah, but it lets me know if your feed is still on.
I'm here.
Yeah. Okay. So we had Zabit Magomesharipov putting on kind of an interesting performance that outlined all the things that he does really, really well, but he also the things that he does not. And mainly it comes down to to me at least, that having bad cardio and inability to properly adapt. And he chalked it up to being sick and on antibiotics this time. But the problem, and he may be telling the truth, but the problem with that is that it keeps happening to him. It's happened. This thing has happened to him in the last 3 fights. So we again got a replay of him pretty much dominating the first round, struggling the second round, but maybe eking it out. Like I lean towards him eking it out, and round 3 just being completely gassed and unable to mount like significant offense, and just losing it by a wide margin. And we saw Kattar do really well. And I mean, he hung in there in the first round. The The second round, he found a little bit more success, but still not quite enough. And in round 3, he adapted completely, and yeah, he won the round handily. And I'm not sure if it's necessarily because Zabit couldn't adapt, because you could see Kattar's leading pretty well. Like in that round, like he found this fighting in combinations work for him, so he could hone in on Magomesharipov, miss the first punch that he would throw, and then come with the second shot to the body. And he would do it with a leading right hand or with a jab that would most always fail to connect, but he would connect with the second shot. And once he married to that approach, which means like he stopped headhunting, he started having significant success. The problem with that is that he's very, he tends to miss things, like he loses attention. So he wasn't cutting the cage effectively. Even when he was getting Magomesharipov backing down, like backing up, I'm sorry, he struggled to really like get his hands on him. And so there were moments when he was tracing the perimeter of the cage, like literally chasing after Zabit, which is kind of bad, even for a guy that's been around doing this for as long as he is. Like he was giving away precious seconds just flailing after Zabit because he was in a bad position. Which ultimately, if you're in a 5-round fight, wouldn't have mattered as much. But since this was a 3-round fight, you kind of have to say that this is a significant glaring problem in his game. And I wouldn't usually say that this is a problem because, you see it often, but the problem, it is a problem because he's not a prospect. Like he's 31 years old and he's been fighting for a long, long time. Like I think he started in 2006 and he had like 3 years of inactivity there. So, you stop the clock up there, but he's been around this thing for a long time and this was his opportunity. And unfortunately, like he failed to capitalize on that. It really hurt his chances. And Zabit, well, he did what Zabit does, And
Absolutely.
That was kind of my evaluation of it. Yeah.
Right.
And it was, no, keep going.
No, finish your thought.
Yeah, like it was like, it is, I have contradictory thoughts about this because I saw a Calvin, it's gonna make no sense what I'm going to say, but I saw a Calvin Kattar that could be a contender for a championship, but not necessarily get there because in order to do that, you have to be the elite in 3-round fights. And he may not be able to do that because we know watching this fight that not only does he have like the arsenal to fight at a high level, but he can adapt. Maybe not as soon as he needs to adapt in a 3-round fight, but he can do it in a 5-round fight. His takedown defense was on point. Like he kept shrugging Zabit off. And when Zabit managed to get a hold of him, he would push him away. Like he would find a way to square him out of that, but relatively quickly, which is, if you're fighting Zabit, like it's kind of a must. And Zabit had no answer for that. So you could see Zabit cycle through his chains of combos and like crazy things, but eventually he ended up at a place where he could no longer compete with Kattar. The problem is that Kattar had already given those first 2 rounds in a way that he wasn't, like, again, like you can argue that he won round 2, maybe, right? Like I wouldn't argue that, but other people.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I scored it for Magomesharipov, but
yeah, I see what you mean, but my point is that this was like a good performance from Kattar, but it showcased problems that he's going to keep having in these 3-round fights.
Well,
and yeah. I mean, against people that can hold him, right?
Well, I don't know if it's specifically going to be an issue for Kattar in 3-round fights. The issue is more when he's, if you notice, the 2 people that he's had these issues with, well, less so. And
people that have that have range tools.
Well, not just range tools, but a significant range advantage too in terms of physical capability.
No, but that didn't exist here.
What do you?
He's given against Zabit.
He was
in his legs, but No, look at the reach.
It's not just reach that matters. He's 3 inches shorter than him. That matters. Even if your reach is similar height, you still have to reach with your punches.
If you're shooting to the head, if you're shooting to the body.
But he was shooting to the head for the entire first 2 rounds. He didn't start throwing to the body until the third round.
Yes, and that is the problem. That is like a significant problem.
Obviously, that's the problem. But the problem is also that he couldn't get his jab going, and he relies so heavily on his jab. And Magomesharipov took it away.
Yeah, but you can jab to the body effectively.
But he relies on his jabs to the head.
Yeah, yes, conceded. I concede that. But what I'm trying to get at is that when he started having significant success was when he adapted and figured, well, he wasn't shooting to the body like with a jab, but he said, okay, I'm going to miss with the first shot I throw, but I'm going to come back with a shot to the body. And that's what I'm going to land with.
I think it's not. I think you're giving him a little more credit than he deserves on the adaptation. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that Magomesharipov was just slowing down also.
Yes. Also, yes. I am giving him credit on that because I think he did change his approach because you could see him not do that in the first and second rounds consistently. He did it at the end of the first, then in the second that vanishes, and in the third, and at the end of the second that returns, and it continues throughout the third. But there is this decision-making process there in my evaluation. But yes, like when you say like Sharipov faded because he got tired, I can totally see that. And
I'm not saying that Calvin did nothing good. I'm saying that Calvin was able to change his approach and implement his adaptations because of the fact that Magomesharipov was far less capable of using the same tools he used in the first 2 rounds. That's
okay. Fair enough. So I can agree with that. But that brings us to the issues with Zabit.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to go into because I want to kind of bring up my point of the fight. Basically, we saw this as being able to, as Magomesharipov's footwork and range, obviously his tools at range, being issues for Calvin until he could until Zabit slowed down. In our prediction, we predicted that he would slow down quicker than he did, or quickly enough that Kattar could take round 2. Again, arguable he did. Not many people would argue it, but I could see the argument for it. Now, here's the problem with Zabit Magomesharipov. The volume he was throwing is not one he can sustain because the problem is this. He has a style that is heavy on volume because he lacks single strike finishing ability.
He's not reliable in that.
Exactly. He doesn't really hurt his opponents in single strikes. He does it over attritive damage. Now, when you are a person like that and you don't have a gas tank past 8 minutes, really, and don't get me wrong, Zabit can fight very well while tired. However, it's not something you consistently can do. And
he's not the same guy.
Exactly. And there's no way he could keep that up for 5 rounds. So when your style is is heavily reliant and has a prevalence of volume striking and attritive striking, yet you don't have the gas tank to do so, your strategies in fights do not match your capabilities physically as a fighter, which Now, if he wants to continue to succeed, he has 2 options. He needs to move up to lightweight
or become a grappler
or focus far more heavily on implementing his grappling, but he's not good enough as a grappler, in my opinion, to be able to do so. So
no, because he fights like a multi-layered approach. Like he's like a more developed MMA fighter, but
I just don't think he's a good enough wrestler to do it. That's all.
Yeah, that's the problem because he's good in many areas.
Yeah, he's really good. Don't get me wrong. His top control and grappling is phenomenal. His wrestling is good, but not great, in my opinion. Now, what can he do moving forward? Because I don't think he will have success at the top of featherweight with what we've seen so far.
In 3-round fights, he may. In these kinds of 3-round fights, he may. But if he gets to 5-round fights,
he's not going to continue having 3-round fights for him. He's going to have 5-round fights, and he's going to lose.
He's going to keep. Yeah, he's going to keep getting older, and that cut is going to keep getting harder.
Absolutely. The other issue that I want to point out is that he is too easy to back up to the fence, and even though he has really, really good footwork, it unfortunately goes away, a lot of it. And when I say footwork, I mean movement on the outside. I don't mean his pivots necessarily in the pocket. He's going to have bigger problems when someone can effectively pressure because, as you mentioned, Kattar was following him around and still able to do damage in that 3rd round. He wasn't effectively cutting off the cage, and that is something that I don't remember if we mentioned. But it's important to note that Calvin Kattar, if this was 5 rounds, Calvin Kattar is on all
likely finishes. He probably finishes Zabit.
Or finishes Zabit, because the body shots, the shots to the head, they were starting to land in far greater volume. And that last second takedown, Zabit did absolutely nothing with it and just got...
He lost those exchanges.
Yeah, he completely lost the grappling exchange because he literally was holding on for dear life for a minute while Calvin was punching and elbowing him in the head. Now, what's next for Zabit Magomesharipov? Again, I think he needs to move up. I think that's his best bet, because he would not have to change his style nearly as much. And he's already a huge featherweight. He would not be lacking in size at lightweight. So,
no, he wouldn't.
For Kattar, I mean, he seems to have acknowledged that he messed up. I think the best thing for him to do would be to understand that he needs to be a lot quicker to go to the body. I'm a little concerned that maybe the last 2 fights he got a little happy with the knockouts, and maybe now he's got a little headhunter happy. But he fought a little bit dumb, and he kind of picked it up in that 3rd round. So there's still hope for Calvin to do pretty well at the top. I think he'll always suffer from an athletic disadvantage. So
I'm not sure that it's an athletic disadvantage necessarily
compared to the
No, it's not. But yeah, okay. But
I mean, if he's an athletic disadvantage, then he's an athletic disadvantage. It's not necessarily to say that he's not an athlete at all. He is.
Okay, like there's levels to this. Okay, I hear what you said.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's levels. It's like Zabit was clearly a level of athletic ability above Calvin Kattar. Now, Zabit is not the most athletic guy. He's pretty fast. He's relatively explosive, but he's not fucking Chad Mendes, you know? Like, there's levels. Calvin's below whatever Zabit is, you know? So, great fight, a lot of fun, and I look forward to seeing Calvin again. I look forward to seeing Zabit get smashed.
Even Chad Mendes isn't Chad Mendes anymore. That's what
before we go on to the next segment, which would be the rest of the card that we're going to talk about, please remember to like, share, subscribe the podcast. We're MMAngnst podcast on YouTube, SoundCloud, on Twitter. We're at MMAngnstP, and you can also, if you want, you could buy some beef jerky at Ben's Beef Jerky, Ben's_beef jerky on Instagram. Please enjoy. I would love to be able to ship anywhere in the U.S., which is what I do. We have 8 flavors. You know, get some today. It's delicious. All right, moving on. Oh, and before I forget, plug in thefightsite.com. Check them out. I will occasionally be writing some articles for them. They're a phenomenal group of analysts and guys. They are the stuff they're putting out is incredible. Honestly, they're fantastic. I'm lucky to be able to be included among them. Let's move on to, sadly, Volkov versus Hardy. Now, happy. Volkov, Greg Hardy. Finally, we watched Greg Hardy lose. Sad part, Greg Hardy is clearly improving, which is not good. That's it. I'm not going to talk further about that, but it is a problem that Greg Hardy's improving, and the fact that he lost means they can give him some more tomato cans and give him more well, I don't want to say tomato cans because I actually like some of the people he fought. Juan Adams is not a tomato can. He admitted he fought really stupid, but he's a good fighter. Ben Sassoli, I think his name is Ben Sassoli, not a bad fighter either, but guys who are there to lose to Hardy. That's what sucks. Volkov didn't really gain much from this other than a win. It was nice.
He needed the work.
Yeah, he needed the work because he'd been out for a while. So thanks, Alexander. Anything you want to comment on this, or you want to move on?
I'm not gonna say much other than that. MMA Twitter was really funny from certain people because literally before the fight started, some lady started saying like it's time for Alex to be the hero, and then he just
did, but not the one we deserved.
Yeah. As for Volkov, I liked the approach that he took. It's like, wait. Give me a moment.
Give me 1 second. Talk as much as you like because I'm about to get some more food. Beep.
Okay. So I just liked that he didn't give a fuck. Like, I'm just gonna fight safe as I can, and he didn't risk anything. Like, unlike the Derek Lewis fight, which you could see him making like a mistake in there right at the end. he got to there, like punch in my ticket, go to work, and then punch out and go home. And that's exactly what it did. And what unfolded was just amusing, because there came a point when every time a punch was coming his way, he was just returning with a jab. Like, oh, you try to hit me, jab. Oh, you try to hit me again, jab, jab, cross, jab, kick to the body, kick to the body, kick to the body.
Well, it makes sense that he would be fighting. It makes sense that he would be fighting safe, considering why he lost his last fight.
I know, like, that's the point. Like this time, he went like, "Fuck that! I'm just gonna go to work, do my thing, go home."
I am not getting Derek Lewis.
Oh, Derek Lewis fought in this card. Oh no, it was the last one. I think.
Last card. Let's move on from this horrible shit show that is Greg Hardy. Oh, yeah. By the way, to all the people that say like, why can't he be? Why can't we forgive him and all this shit? Like, listen.
No, he nearly killed his girlfriend. Fuck him.
Wait, and then paid her off to not testify against him.
Yeah, he was found guilty by a jury, by the way.
Right. So here's the problem. He's never once exhibited any sort of remorse, but rather acts like he's entitled for redemption as opposed to trying to earn it. Second thing is, if you say, well, what's he supposed to do? It's not like anybody would accept his apology. Well, if he was truly remorseful for what he did, he could support battered women's shelters. He can go and volunteer. He can go and give speeches and say what he did was wrong and why he did it was wrong. Like, he could actually make an effort to improve the lives of people like the one he nearly destroyed, and is making zero effort to do it. So, in conclusion, fuck Greg Hardy, fuck Dana White, fuck the UFC for what they're doing with him. Seriously.
Yeah, just one last thing that I may add to that. Like, there's this notion that people have about like what people should do and should not do in public. But if you're a public figure and you're consistently raising your hand saying, "Pay attention to me," like, you cannot escape this.
Absolutely.
And if it keeps being brought up, and the way that it's being brought up is people making excuses for you, just don't complain when you keep hearing the same shit over and over again, because it's not like time wipes everything away, you know? So like, a lot of sports fans need to grow the fuck up and understand that it's not about like having fun all the time. Yeah. And if you're gonna bring these people like in this to these places, and especially like a sport like this one, like, well, okay, quote unquote sport.
Yeah.
Where, you know, what you have to do is violence, like your trade is violence. I mean, yeah, like sportsmen, athletes, respect, whatever. Yeah, but it's violence, right? It's a blood sport at the end of the day. You don't complain when you hear things like this. Like, you don't get to choose. Like, you can't have it both ways. Like, you're still existing in society, and these things go through a huge set of eyes, and a lot of people can watch, and a lot of people can have an opinion. And that's it.
Exactly. Well, let's move on to Danny Roberts basically nearly murdering Zalim Imadiev. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but did you see that fucking knockout? Holy shit.
Yeah, I'll say I thought he was starting to lose it. He was losing that fight up till that moment. But I remember rooting for him so hard in that fight, and I know nothing about him. And the other dude fought in a way that I found interesting, and he was like strangely physical. Like, he had a background in boxing apparently, but he was pretty okay in the grappling, and he could reverse position. Like, he was like unduly strong. Like, it felt at times. But I was rooting for Roberts only because of his nickname. Like, I had no idea who he was, but I just saw that he called him Hot Chocolate. Like, I'm rooting for this man. I don't know who he is. I don't know what he's all about. He's Hot Chocolate, so I have to root for this man. I went into the fight, and he was like, shit, like, he's losing. Hot Chocolate is losing, and then he's like,
no, don't lose, Hot Chocolate.
Yes, and then he was like, oh shit, Hot Chocolate put him to sleep.
That's fantastic. Well, good job, Danny Roberts. We're also going to now quickly discuss Ed Herman still trucking along.
I feel bad because, it kind of like, he just pulled that out. Like, he spent his last amounts of grit to win that fight. it felt to me.
Oh, you think he's going to get murdered in his next fight?
No, I think he spent his last amounts of grit because I think he's injured, and he said that, you know what, I think I'm going to retire after the fight.
Damn. I mean, that guy's been in the UFC for what, like 10 years already?
Dude, it's not like he's been having easy fights. Like, he's been chugging along, but his version of chugging along is like getting into these gritty exchanges of just eating and giving damage.
The thing is, I don't know if he necessarily wants to be in these gritty fights, but he's so slow that he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, like, well, okay, thank you for saying it, because now I don't have to say it. But yes, he seems
one of the slowest fighters ever. Like, he's so slow, which is a testament to how
he moves
tough and gritty, and I guess there's definitely a lot of craft to what he does.
Of course, but the problem is that if you shot him with a rotoscope camera, like, he would just be still. Like, if you put those in the fight moment, like they do in the UFC, where they put like super slow motion, he's just still.
He's just
that's a problem.
He's like a redheaded sloth.
Yes.
And last,
I mean, we're not mocking him. Like,
no, absolutely not. I happen to be a big fan of it. Anthony Rocco Martin just continues to impress. First of all, his post-fight speech, man. Goddamn, that was tugging at the heartstrings, because all the best to you and your family, Anthony. Like, because I really hope that everything works out as best as it possibly can. That being said, phenomenal performance against Ramazan Amiev. Those calf kicks. Rocco is just a phenomenal fighter at this point. And by I'm being a little bit hyperbolic with phenomenal, but when your only loss is a majority decision to Damian Maia since moving up to welterweight, I think that shows a lot about you as a fighter. And he's slowly but surely become a force in the welterweight division. The guy's a really, really high level middle ranked fighter, and I mean, he's got some really good wins on his record. Amiev now, Sergio Moraes, Jake Matthews, Ryan LaFleur. Like, those are some solid names, and he is just...
No, he's good. Like, he's still kind of flying under the radar, but they should invest a little more time in him. I think.
Absolutely. I would love to.
I
would love to see him continue to grow.
He's
only been fighting since 2012, also, so he's like entering the prime of his career now. So good job, Anthony.
And they need fresh blood in his weight class, so it may work out for him. Mm-hmm. Let's hope.
Absolutely. And he already showed he can hang with one of the top fighters in Maia. So, next,
fucking Damian Maia going out there doing favors to people.
Hell yeah. Maia actually tweeted about it after the fight. He's like, "You're a great job. You're one of the best grapplers I've ever competed against." He's like, "God damn!" I'm like, "God damn, that's some high ass."
That man proves to people that you can have. He's like the closest version of a Sesame Street character, but in MMA. Like, he's just so sweet.
We definitely do not deserve Damian Maia.
No, we don't.
MMA is like I feel like that, like, the MMA universe has had to balance out the goodness of Damian Maia with the shit of everyone else. They're like,
it feels like
you won.
it feels like MMA, like the MMA universe is caught like in the 90s American comic book moment when everything was gritty and extreme, and it's still slowly like evolving past that. It's like, fuck, like, we just need to put pouches on these people, like just shit ton of pouches, like to make it more 90s. Unreal. And spikes everywhere.
All right, before we move on, just a couple things I want to mention. Magomed Ankalaev absolutely fucking wrecked Dalcha Lungiambula with that front kick and punch. And he beat the shit out of him before that, but god damn.
But the sound,
heard like the crack. That was crazy.
Oof.
Rustam Kalabalov continues to win. I don't know how to put that, but it's never fun, and it's always it happens a lot. So his only loss was to Carlos de Higo Ferreira in the past 3 years. So And he's just going to keep doing his thing until he meets someone who can kind of like force him into a fight he's not comfortable with.
Yeah.
And finally, two more things. Carl Roberson. What a tough motherfucker and a legit prospect because he was comfortably winning the fight, gets poked in the eye, and then just goes, I'm getting the finish, while basically blind in one eye. And that was impressive as hell. And finally, David Zawada submitted Abubakar Nurmagomedov with a triangle choke, and that was awesome. So, hell yeah.
Did you see the video that they uploaded later? Like Khabib and his team?
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, it was like, what are you guys doing? Like, okay.
What?
They put the guy.
You're cutting out, buddy. Alejandro, you're cutting out completely. I can't hear you. Well, while Alejandro is gone, no, heard him briefly. Alejandro. Oh no. Oh no. I don't think. There you are. Uh-oh. We've lost him. You back? There you are. You're back. You're back.
Okay. Yeah.
It's still recording.
Okay. It's just like this should happen all the time. We're professionals, people, as you can hear.
I'm definitely leaving that in, by the way.
Shit. Mierda. Because I was already like typing frantically, like my internet is shit. And I think it's send you a WhatsApp.
It's definitely not mine. Mine's working perfectly.
Nah, it's mine. Like I had like a flare up like early in the morning. It was like shit. I hope it doesn't happen when we're recording. Okay, guess what? It happened. Mexican internet, people.
Anyway, I don't know what you were saying at all.
Shit, I just forgot. What were we talking?
We were talking about.
Oh yeah, Abubakar and the video. Yes. What the fuck was that about? Like they put him on like this cryo thing and then for tapping or something like that. I don't remember what it was. I think it was because of tapping. And it's like, really? Like it just seemed like they went. I know it's a joke, but it's like it seems like a lot of work. You know, like no, this shit is expensive also.
Well, I mean, they use it for like,
It's not like they own one. It's my point. When you have to fire that thing, like it costs money. It's not cheap. Anyways, fuck that. Let's move on.
Fuck that, indeed. I do hope that he taps the strikes, though.
Next.
He being Khabib.
Yeah, Khabib is not going to tap the strike. That dude is going to die in there. If it gets bad, that dude is willing to die in there.
I said I hope. I didn't say I think it would happen.
Yeah, no.
All right, we're moving on to the next card, which is headlined by Jan Blachowicz versus Ronaldo Jacare Souza.
Yeah, let me say something first. Like, a lot of these fighters, like, I remember their names, but I don't remember how they fight, so we're going to have a strange time.
That's okay. I don't honestly know how to respond to that. Which I don't know how to respond to that.
Yeah. I can visualize one fighter that of this matchup. Like I know a lot of the fighters, but none of like half of them or more. I don't know like one half of all these matchups. So it's like this guy I know versus this dude I don't remember. This dude I know versus this dude I don't remember.
Weird. Okay. Yeah, well, do you remember the main event?
Yeah, that one I do remember. Then Jan Blachowicz.
I'm picking Souza. I know he's the underdog. I know he's old, and I know he's another of the middleweights that are moving up, and everyone's like, he's going to get knocked out too. I think Jacare is different. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Hermansson fight wasn't a good sign, but he did win 2 of those rounds. And he went 5 rounds, and he was still fighting at the end. And I think he won the 5th round. If I remember correctly, I don't remember 100%. Either the 4th or the 5th round. And he is his losses, I mean, in my opinion, he won the Kelvin Gastelum fight, which means he should have beaten Derek Brunson, Kelvin Gastelum, and Chris Weidman in a row. And other than that, his only two losses, other than the Gastelum fight, his only two losses other than Jacare Manson were to Robert Whittaker and Yoel Romero. So, yeah. Who is Jan Blachowicz beat?
Luke Rockhold.
He beat Luke Schothold, and his other best win is Jimmy Manua on a 4-fight losing streak, and he was sandwiched in there. And he's the only man to not finish Jimmy Manua in his last 4 fights, which were all losses. What an interesting fact, I think. Even though he hurt him multiple times, he still couldn't finish him. Isn't that interesting? It's almost as if Jan Blachowicz is not that hard of a puncher. Let's see. Well, let's take a look at Jan's full UFC record. He enters the UFC.
You have Fight Metric open over there, don't you?
Of course I do. He knocks out Ilir Latifi with a head kick. Fair play. Loses to Jimmy Manua by unanimous decision. Loses to Corey Anderson by unanimous decision. Beats Igor Pokrayek by unanimous decision. Loses 2 in a row to Alexander Gustafsson and, you're not hearing wrong, Patrick Cummins. Then he beats Devin Clark, Jared Cannonier, Jimmy Manua, Nikita Krylov. Okay? Finishes 2 of them by submission. Not really going to be relevant in this fight. Then he gets knocked out by Thiago Santos and knocks out Luke Rockhold. Now, going through that list, does any of those names or fights sound like they would give you confidence that, assuming Jacare is not completely shot as a fighter, would make you think that skill for skill he beats Jacare?
Skill for skill he won't, but I think you're making an interesting choice there in your wording, because you say if he's not completely shot.
Which I'm choosing that wording very carefully because, again, he's 39. I'm not going to pretend he has to physically.
He doesn't have to be completely shot, just enough.
What I don't think he is, though.
I think he's just enough shot, not completely, but just enough that
it's a 5-round fight. Jacare fights a lot better when he's tired than
and he made to be fair to you, Jacare made this an argument. He said that if they're both tired, he fights better. He literally said
we've seen this multiple times. We saw him in the Kelvin Gastelum fight. We saw him in Jacare Manson fight. We saw it in the Romero fight where he won the last round against Yoel and arguably won the fight. This is something that Jacare, despite he's been tired in many of his fights, has proven that he's a really good fighter while tired. Jan Blachowicz has not. Every single fight that Jan lost the last round against Jared Cannonier. Against Jimmy Manua, again, this was like the seriously declined Jimmy Manua, who was getting hurt by basically any solid punch that was landed. He got knocked out by Thiago Santos and was flustered and was outstruck. Nikita Krylov was a grappling match, and Devin Clark is just not good. But he lost to Patrick Cummins, who was able to just out-grapple him. Alexander Gustafsson, he lost to. He was able to out-grapple him. Corey Anderson, he lost to, was able to out-grapple him. Jimmy Manua outstruck him in their first fight. I'm noticing a pattern of him losing fights where he's up against a better grappler and wrestler, and also not actually doing well down the stretch. Now, he's definitely gotten better at conserving his gas tank, which is why he's been able to win a bunch of decisions as well as lose them. But I do think it's important to note that he has a gas tank issue of his own. He is not the better grappler here, and he has lost to every really good grappler that he's faced. And he doesn't fight nearly as well tired as Jacare, as well as also not proving that he can do really well against a higher level competition. Thiago Santos is not a better middleweight than Jacare. He's just not. Jacare would have honestly fucking wrecked Santos at middleweight. I feel very comfortable saying that. I mean, fucking.
We're gonna see.
Well, let me put it to you this way: if David Branch can pressure Thiago Santos and fucking just knock him out, you telling me Jacare Souza wouldn't be able to do the same?
No, he could, but it's
He
a bit of a
would.
different thing.
No,
Yes, he would.
why would it be different? He's a better pressure fighter. He hits much
Yeah,
harder.
because we're talking about Jan Blachowicz.
No. I'm saying that I think it's a point to make that Thiago Santos.
Okay, yes, fair
Thiago
enough. I
Santos
agree.
was not getting outstruck by Jan Blachowicz at all. He was actually outstriking Blachowicz, and when Blachowicz got frustrated, he came running in like a dumbass, basically, and got knocked the fuck out for it. Now, granted, that was an outfighting fight, and I don't think we'll have that issue, but what really good pressure fighter has Jan faced?
Not many, but let me say
I don't
this.
think there's any.
Yes. Okay. Thiago Santos is an okay pressure
But he
fighter.
didn't pressure.
No, he was playing around it.
They were outfighting. They were having an outfighting fight.
Yeah, but let me say this.
Go ahead.
If Jan Blachowicz had an interesting contest, if I remember correctly, with Gustafsson.
He was outstriking him from an outfighting point of view, and I think we've already talked about how Gustafsson's not actually that good of an outfighter.
Nope, but one thing that it was salient to me during that fight was that he wasn't just having success on the outside; he was having success with uppercuts on the inside, which wasn't even commented a lot. But if that situation presents itself here, it's going to be down to whether Jacare can hit those shots and whether like the extra weight will help him. Like this is the fight
I don't think he's going to be putting on weight for this fight. I think he's just not going to cut. He's a huge.
No, I know, but he's going to be fighting at by extra weight. I mean that he's going to be fighting.
Less dehydrated. Yes.
Yeah, and that always helps. So that this fight is going to tell us because. Again, like I agree with everything he said, but the thing is going to be like the first round and a half is really going to tell us because I think he can get caught in those exchanges. If it gets to the middle distance and he starts exchanging uppercuts with Blachowicz or even just body punches, like this is a slightly larger guy and he's like kind of younger than him, so he can get caught in there. Like in
the problem is 1 second, sorry.
Yes.
I do want to point out Jan is not that good defensively either, though. He gets hit a lot.
No, I'm talking about them clashing. I'm not talking about them putting like a defensive masterclass. I'm literally talking about.
You're misunderstanding me. I'm saying that it's more likely that we're going to see Jacare landing the big shots than Jan.
Oh yeah, I agree. But what I'm saying is that this thing that of Jacare losing is going to happen within the first and second round, and it's going to be. It's not dismissible that this may happen. Like. Again, like mostly because he's older, like mostly because
no. If Jan wins, it's because he's.
That's when it happens. Like if he loses, that's when it happens.
Yep.
Like in the first and second round, and
Probably,
in the pitch exchanges in the middle range.
Yep.
Where they start throwing, but because I would, if Jacare shows up trying to like grapple with him, and he's a so much better grappler, like. So much of a better grappler that he could just toy with him if he wanted. Like I hope he shows up trying to fight that way, because that way, like he wins and
his grappling is Jan is actually a good grappler, but he's nowhere near the level of Jacare. And
Jacare is
the problem is that he's got some pretty decent takedown defense. Granted, it's not amazing; it's at 60%. However, and he's been taken down by a lot of his opponents have taken him down.
Yeah, and they're not better at it than
Thiago Santos took him down. So but I'm picking Jacare to win by KO, probably round 3 or sub round 3 after maybe a knockdown.
I don't know. Like I don't see this fight going the distance, but I can quite visualize the ending. But I honestly I see more like I can visualize Blachowicz knocking Jacare out in the time interval that I mentioned, but I don't know how Jacare gets it done because I don't think it's going very far. But he could submit him, but I don't figure how, or he could outstrike him, like kind of like how he did with Weidman.
Yeah,
but I don't figure how that's going to end. You know, I think he may be tentative in this fight also in this time.
I don't think so. I don't think that's an issue.
Maybe.
I hope not. That's one of the things where he felt he held back a little too much in the Hermansson fight, and I don't think he's going to make that same mistake again.
Yeah, he also mentioned that he had been going through like some personal issues.
Yes, I remember that as well.
And he mentioned that he
He was
everybody says
depressed.
that, but
He was depressed.
yeah. And he said that he's been seeing the doctor and working on those things. So it may that should be significant here.
Yep.
If he looks good, it's because of that.
Let's talk about Shogun Rua versus Paul Craig, though, because I am picking the old lion. I am picking Mauricio Shogun Rua because Bear Jew is not actually a good fighter. He's a solid grappler, okay. Not a good fighter. His striking is not good. And Shogun is still pretty good at this. He's old and slow and
I don't want to disagree, but I'm going to say he's pretty okay, not necessarily good anymore.
Who?
Shogun.
No, I think he's gotten a lot more crafty, especially with his counterpunching. And that's something that Paul Craig has struggled with. Guys anybody who can make Paul Craig hesitate even a little bit has basically fucked him up. Badly. And like Alonzo Menafield, Jimmy Crute.
If this was Shogun 5 years ago, yes.
What?
Mm-hmm. If this was Shogun even 5 years ago, yes.
5? If this was Shogun even 2 years ago, it's still no. Again, I don't see Paul Craig being able to just knock him out on the feet. He's not.
No, it's just my sad version of fandoms talking because Shogun has really, really going off a steep cliff.
Physically, skill-wise,
he's still falling.
Better. He's probably
his skill is better than he's ever been,
and he's still knocking fools out. He won his last 2 fights by knockout, and one of them was Tyson Pedro. And Tyson Pedro, for whatever you could say, is a legit athlete. And Paul Craig is not. And Paul Craig is also not that good of a fighter. Again, more I would say he's not a good striker.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pick Shogun by knockout, second or third round.
Yeah. I think even in the first.
Very possible, but Craig usually can get a little bit he'll just try and survive, and then will eventually try and throw and then get knocked out. But I also see him trying to pull guard. He will try.
Yeah, but Shogun is an okay black belt.
Yes.
So I don't know how that is going to work well for him. But I don't see Shogun getting to the third because I think he's going to be super tired. So I think he's likely going to make an effort to finish it in round 2.
I mean, he beat Corey Anderson by decision, and then he beat who did he fight before that? Lil Nog by decision. So he's still got.
When was this? When did he beat Lil Nog?
He beat him. I don't know how many years ago. It wasn't that
long. Just 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago. Yeah. No, it was 2015. But he went to decision with Corey Anderson in 2016. And his last 2 fights went to the third round before he finished them. So I don't know.
When was his last fight?
December of 2018, so about a year ago.
Okay, I can see him. He gets to the third round. I'm just nervous for him.
I get it. All right, let's move on to Chucky Olives versus Jared Gordon. I
don't remember Jared Gordon.
Well, I do, and it's not a great stylistic matchup. He's not. Chucky Olives is actually a better striker, or more effective striker, and a better striker from a technical standpoint as well. He seems to have really embraced his physicality now that he's moved up to lightweight. The fact that he's able to come back from getting knocked down is important. And Jared Gordon is really tough. He's a really good grinding fighter. The problem is that those fighters can tend to lose against Chucky Olives when they don't have the athletic advantage or a significant power advantage, like Paul Felder, right? Gritty fighter, had significant strength and size on Chucky Olives. Lamos is a more physical fighter. Anthony Pettis, much more athletic. Max Holloway, well, that was a weird fight. But the guys who beat Charles Oliveira tend to have a significant advantage in one of those fields, either strength, size, and power, or athletic ability. And unfortunately, Jared Gordon doesn't have that. And his style is the type that's going to get him caught in a submission. Similar to Nick Lentz, who got knocked out, but he's been submitted by him too. David Tamer was submitted. Guys who rely on their grittiness tend to lose to him, like Clay Guida, Jim Miller. Nick Lenz, Jeremy Stevens lost to him. So I'm going to pick Chuck Yallas by submission round 2, late round 1, early round 2.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right.
No, I mean, the problem is that I don't remember Gordon.
Well, I mean, we could just do some quick picks down the card. James Krause, I'm picking to knock out Sergio Moraes, round 3. Francisco Trinaldo versus Bobby Green. Ooh, that's a fun fight. Leaning Trinaldo, but also can see the argument for Green.
Yeah, Bobby Green is the guy that retired not long ago, right?
Yeah, then he came back. Yeah. I would say maybe I'm going to go Trinaldo UD for now, but I could flip-flop. I got Randy Brown versus Wally Alves. I think he'll TKO Warley in the 3rd.
Now you believe in Randy Brown?
I believe in him now. I feel bad for the fact that I didn't before. I know it was wrong. But I believe in him. I'm sorry, Randy. I'm sorry, Randy. Douglas Silva de Andrade is going to knock out Renan Barão, and I'm sad.
Yeah. He's older than Barão, too.
I know.
Why?
Ay.
Who's just fallen harder than Renan Barão?
Well,
I mean, not even Eric Silva. Well, Shogun. No, but Shogun is still competitive, so.
Shogun is still competitive. That's the thing. Like, it's not like he's.
It's not just like that. He's not the same. It's that Barão has had a really particular kind of fall. Like, he went from main events and Dana White proclaiming him to be the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, to now being like preliminary fodder for up-and-coming fighters. And it really it feels like a long time, but if I remember correctly, the fall was like really quick, like really stiff. And it was like, shit, like this dude ain't there anymore.
Man.
Man.
Well.
MMA, it will break your heart.
Rip Barão. I think that's it for this card. We're gonna briefly discuss something that happened a couple of weeks ago. I think now Canelo versus Kovalev. Very brief.
Fun fight.
Very brief. 2 minutes.
Yes.
So go ahead. I'll let you gush about Canelo.
Actually, I'm not gushing that lot. I mean, he did a lot of good work, but unfortunately, he didn't throw enough. And I rewatched the fight. Like the first time I had like Canelo up by 5 by.
I think I had it 5-5. I had him down.
Yeah,
I had it even. I had it 5-5.
Yeah, you had it tied.
I mean, anything from 6-4 Kovalev to like 6-4 Canelo was pretty fair.
I had Canelo down by when I watched it the second time. I had Canelo down by a significant margin. I think like by 3 rounds or 4.
I don't agree with that at all.
No, 3 rounds. Yeah, because I'm thinking like in terms of like what can the judges see on a single sitting. So when you watch the second fight, you watch a lot of things that judges tend to score and a lot of things that they don't. So, for example, Canelo was doing a lot of good work with parries. Like the first time, if you watch it, like you may not like notice that Alvarez was doing a hell of a lot of work just parrying, and preventing Kovalev from actually doing much of anything. So that's why you could barely see Kovalev throwing that straight shot that he has. That he's used a ton to do damage, but here, very rarely did he land it. And Alvarez was doing a very good job, like defensively. But when it came time to pressure and counter in the pocket, he was very reticent. But he was doing significant damage throughout the fight. The problem is that Kovalev is a good enough bullshitter that in a single sitting, that may not be evident. So it's like you're watching the shots that Canelo is landing, but since they don't seem to be facing Kovalev that much, like significantly, it seems that he's winning, even though he's taking the brunt of the damage.
I mean, he definitely ate the much harder shots throughout the.
Oh, definitely.
And I also want to point out that not Kovalev, Alvarez did a phenomenal job of throwing body shots and landing them with every opportunity that he had. Whenever he was in range to land them, he dug that left hook to the body.
Actually, no. He did do that, but not as much as he should have.
He did it a ton. You are so off on this one. There is a clip going around of literally just Canelo landing.
No. But that clip is misleading because that clip shows most of the body shots that Canelo landed, but not the time when he was just standing in there and not doing much. And even his...
You can't say it didn't work. It clearly worked.
No. Yes, I am saying that it did work, but it wasn't something that was necessarily visible on the first sitting. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
and even his coach, Eddie Reynoso came out of the fight and said, like, it wasn't necessarily a good thing. Like, Canelo was very, very tentative and he didn't throw. Like, they were very nervous on the 10th round because they felt like they were down. And, I don't disagree with them. Like, the guy wants his guy to win.
They were up, but I will say that I'm not saying that they couldn't have done more. I'm saying that he did an excellent job of doing it when he did, and that's why he won the fight.
That's what we'll disagree.
He really won the fight.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with it.
Knockout. He won the fight. No, I'm not talking about the knockout. He won the fight because the body shots took enough out of Kovalev that he was able to land the punches to the head that took him out. And what's lost on a lot of people is the first punch that hurt him were not the finishing blows. He got rocked.
No, it was
straight right that landed.
Yes, it was a right. Yeah. No, but know what I'm saying here. I'm talking about perception of things, of what these people are watching, right? And
again, you're misunderstanding me, maybe. I'm saying that their perception is that Canelo could have thrown more, and he probably could have thrown more. But even without doing so, the strategy was extremely successful. And therefore, he obviously did a great job. Because it's not like...
I would say it was successful, but not extremely. Like, I see what you're saying.
He knocked him out. While being up on the cards. What do you mean? Okay. He was up on the cards. They showed the cards as he was winning.
Yeah, and then in one he was tied, which wasn't good. But again, like fucking boxing judges.
But Kovalev was also fading, so that wasn't boding well for Kovalev. And the fact of the matter is that in the 11th round, when you're fading, he definitely would have lost that round. Let's say he got up, he would have lost at 10-8.
And then he loses 11 and 12.
And he would have lost the fight completely.
Yeah, probably.
No, he could not have possibly come back unless he finished Canelo.
Yeah.
If he would have lost that round 10-8, he would have been down 2 rounds and 3 points on 2 of the scorecards and down 2 points on the other card. So even if he got a 10-9 on one card, even if he won the 12th round unanimously, would have lost.
But the problem is that when you have a bunch,
even if he knocks down Canelo,
but listen, please, listen. When you have these fucking boxing judges and you have these things they call swing rounds.
I'm not arguing that. That's not my point. Of course, I know that boxing judges could. I'm not arguing that. I'm saying we do have the knowledge, though. Pretending we don't is not going to accomplish.
In hindsight, but in hindsight, if I'm watching the fight on hindsight, like I give even more rounds to Canelo. But if I'm watching the fight and I'm for a second time thinking like these fucking people think, like I kind of had him down.
It was also Vegas, and it's Canelo.
Also, yeah, like you can kind of see.
Anyway, all right. I think it's time to move on and say thank you for joining us. I've been your host, Ben Cohn. This was a fun episode where we missed Bilal, but honestly, go fuck him. I hope he has nightmares.
That shit escalated quickly.
Also, fuck you. Fuck you, and you're going to lose your next fucking matchup in the Civil War, the Bloody Elbow Civil War.
Me?
Fuck you, Bilal. No, Bilal.
Oh, right, because I'm not even playing. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
No, you're an alternate. But yeah, fuck you, Bilal, and fuck you, Kemi. You bitch.
Yeah, right, because Kemi's the arch-villain now. He kicked your ass.
He didn't kick our ass. He actually was kind of shit. He was the lowest scorer on his team.
But didn't his team beat your team?
Yeah, his team beat our team, but he picked all.
Okay, so he kicked your ass.
He literally picked the best players. He got like all of them. He got the first round.
Okay. Did he beat you? Didn't he kick your ass?
No.
I just want you to admit. Okay.
He did nothing but tag along. Anyway, I've been your host, Ben Cohn. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Later.
We will
That's it.
see you next week.
Bye.